Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide, the official introduction of Stormbreaker content that will form the centerpiece of the 4.2 release happened in the latest Inside Star Citizen. And while the visuals are impressive and the challenges, well, challenging, it made me wonder if the content team actually knows what certain words mean in game design, or if they are intentionally mislabeling them because they are uneasy about giving them an accurate description. So let's start with Sandbox.
It is a sandbox activity.
That is not what Sandbox means. It is not even remotely close to what Sandbox means.
Just like you can the Align and Mine sandbox activity.
A sandbox game is a type of video game that emphasizes player freedom and creativity, allowing them to explore and interact with the game in a non-linear fashion. It often features open-world environments where players can roam and choose their own activities rather than following a predefined storyline or a set of objectives. That's what Sandbox is. The main thing about Sandbox is its lack of predetermined structure. Yet Stormbreaker is highly structured. Go here, get this, go there, listen to that, go there, get that special mech, get that thing, then put that thing in that special place, release the boss mob to get the unique loot from the boss mob. Wait for the reset timer, repeat. And then while we're at it, exploration.
Stormbreaker is all about taking the next step in exploration gameplay.
Again, no matter how many interesting things are encountered along the way, anything that you can go on YouTube and get a walkthrough video precisely laying out everything is not exploration. The absurd thing is that Star Citizen is so huge that exploration is essentially already baked in. Exploration means finding something that nobody else has found out and then profiting from that discovery. Star Citizen could have all the exploration gameplay it would ever need simply by adding the ability to create your own markers and then being able to sell access to those markers to others. Just add that little game feature and exploration is covered simply because of the scope of the verse. But that's a game feature, and you know about game features in 2025. So instead, we have CIG pretending that they're actually not at all exploration stuff is exploration, and that they're not at all sandbox stuff is sandbox. But if Stormbreaker isn't sandbox and it isn't exploration, then what is it? What is the actually accurate term for Stormbreaker that they apparently aren't willing to use? Stormbreaker is a raid, specifically an epic superboss raid. It is pretty much a textbook example of one. It has all the characteristics of an epic superboss raid. And epic raids are not an unusual thing in MMOs, going all the way back to the earliest ones. So why is CIG being so reluctant to describe Stormbreaker for what it actually is, and trying instead to label it what it is clearly not? Because epic raids have some very common faults. Faults which were evident in the Hathor content in 4.1.1 as well, and are already showing even more strongly in the open PTU of Stormbreaker in 4.2. Epic raids gravitate towards being dominated by large, high-commitment orgs. Often orgs specifically established and mobilized for dominating access to the raid in general, and particular to the unique loot therein. Unless you are lucky enough to come into a very low population shard, the small org has almost zero chance in succeeding in this event, not simply because of the size of the opposition, but because the raid org is going to kill them if they get even close to the raid loot. Now, you might say, well, those individuals and small parties should get together and represent a challenge to the raid org. Except without the basic party organizing, identification, and coordination tools previewed at the Manchester CitizenCon, that is hard to accomplish. But that's game features, and 2025 and game features. So I'm left with either the possibility that the game content team doesn't actually know what these basic terms like sandbox and exploration mean in a game, or they do know and are using these other terms because they know that if they're honest and call it a super boss epic raid, they're going to be even more accused of having the best, coolest, and newest stuff locked behind forcing just one type of gameplay, FPS, which is a and also locked behind having to belong to a large high-commitment org, which is also A. Or to put it another way, when he says,
I'm really excited to see what discover.
You may think that you means you, and maybe even he thinks that you means you, but unless you are in a large, high-commitment, FPS-focused org, you is not you. You is them. Now, a sensible retort to this is that nothing is being forced, and the player that just doesn't have the time or inclination to join a raid org can just play as suits them, and then, for that Atlas ICTI, for example, negotiate to buy one from those that do. And that would make sense, except that these org leaders are not, as a group, known for their 5-star reputation of their business dealings. And not only that, but even the most basic support for in-game player-to-player commerce is years behind where it should be. But the casual player might be aided from an unexpected source. Because I look at this bit from the ISC
Battle vehicles that can only be earned in-game?
and I think, well, bless their dear hearts. They actually think that they have the ability to make that policy decision and have it stick once the marketing department sniffs the ability to sell 500,000 ICTI at $50 each with LTI. Because what makes me feel that? Well, this guy.
Our actual idea is there's a few ships that we want to have you play Squadron, and if you get to the point in Squadron that you get to fly them, then you get the badge to be able to get that ship in the position.
So yeah, if he can't make a permanent exception to the we sell ships revenue model, and you think he can, well, bless your heart. And now for an update on the giveaways. First, we have the video contest I recently announced, for the award being the amazing all-encompassing assault lander, the Asgard, or the terrifying tactical carrier, the Star Lancer TAC. Look at the reference video for the contest rules. Then we have our regular annual IAE week giveaway for the shiny stainless steel series shipping ship, the Star Lancer Max. And then the Grow the Channel ship giveaway for the winner's choice of the marvelous multi-role mining meta, the Arasto, or the Benu Big Box Bargain Bazaar, the Merchantman. One entry per video for those two drawings. Be a member for automatic entry with every video, or just subscribe and comment with the secret word. And the secret word for this video is what Stormbreaker actually is. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Danny Raymond with Ray's Guide.